Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, March 20th, 2018, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been a very good day. I'm in an excellent place and excited for a productive session. Um, Starting to adjust to this new scenario. I think driving back and forth between my home now and this place, the studio, is definitely getting a little old. And I think this weekend I'm going to make the leap um, to having pretty much everything over at the new place, or at least I'm going to try on Saturday to get that done so that by the time Sunday rolls around, I can just spend some time setting up the new digs and yeah, starting to work there and not having to travel back and forth just to work on music. It's going to be a bit of a project, the final haul, but I actually think I'm in a pretty good spot with it. So then next week I'm just going to be dotting up the I's and crossing the T's here, cleaning, getting rid of stuff I'm going to let go of, and then, just doing a second sort through everything to keep stuff. But as far as music goes, today what we're going to do is jump into the online class front, going to talk you guys through the main takeaways I'm getting there, and then I'm going to jump on the drums and finish up this chorus section. I did kind of like a preliminary take yesterday that was pretty good, but it's definitely like scratch. I'm almost 100% sure I can do better. I mean, I'll listen back to it today and see how it sounds. It'll probably sound better today than it did yesterday, but I think there's a little more work to do there. But I'll have a good shot at knocking it out today, which would be huge. And then I'm going to listen to the takes I did last night of the intro section to the new tune. And I got some ones that felt pretty good last night, so I'll listen back to them. There may be a little bit more work to do there. And if so, I'll do that. And if not, I'll move on to teaching myself the next section. So finally making some headway here. Really got stuck in the mud for a while. And just feels good to be headed in the right direction again. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions as we go. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll update you at the end with the key points from the day. See you then. Excellent first half of the day. It feels incredible to be back in the groove, and I'm definitely back in the groove. And what can I say about that, man? I mean, I think as soon as I realize I'm out, I just do my best to try to get back in, and I really don't think it's about not falling off because everyone slips. I really just think it's about getting back on track as quickly as possible when it happens, and just doing my best. Skipped out on the online class front for the second day in a row and charged through more of the recording studio design book. I'm about halfway through, which is pretty darn good. And heavy skipping over a lot of the super technical stuff, or the stuff that's just designed for purpose-built studios or just much larger facilities than what I'm doing right now. But a lot of the main points are really great, and they align very well with the Real Traps folks, realtraps.com. They make the Mondo trap and things like that. I'm buying like 90% of my treatment materials from the room from them, and then I'm buying like maybe 10% open cell Orlex foam, pretty widely available and relatively inexpensive, although room treatment materials do cost money if you want good stuff, especially for bass control. But yeah, I'm going to have a really good room, and I'm going to keep improving it over time if that's warranted, but I think the route I'm going right now is going to give me a pretty good balance of keeping it lively and keeping it real, but also keeping it tight and controlled, which is what I want for my music. And just making sure I keep my near-field monitoring really close so that I have minimal reflection time and decay time on transients and things like that. And I'm just learning a ton of stuff from this book and from the Real Traps online materials, which are free, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm just excited to deepen my knowledge about studios, about sound control, about the science behind speaker design, why things are the way they are, how to optimize, and the fact that most of them are imperfect solutions, but that doesn't mean you can't get a much better solution than just like a room with no treatment. You know what I mean? So just accepting those realities and dealing with them, and also understanding that 99.9% of people are going to listen in non-ideal listening circumstances unless your target audience is audiophiles, in which case the bar is a little different and a little higher. But it's just good to remind yourself, like, as long as you're one step ahead of the consumer, which is pretty much how the record industry has gone, you're in pretty good shape. So I'm trying to be a few more than just one step ahead, but yeah, I just think having a really great facility is going to really push my mixing skills and my technique, and it's actually going to allow me to trust my judgment a lot more and get better objectivity, because I won't be second guessing every single decision, because I'll be like I have here, because I'm like, okay, I know this room is not ideal for so many reasons, so let me just like ballpark it, and that's been good enough until now, but that's not going to be good enough for this record. So I'm really excited to be moving forward. I'm proud of myself for putting in the time to understand it, and I'm proud of myself for just speeding through the book and not getting sandbagged with too much. But main takeaways are, ideal listening position in a room. First of all, speaker placement should be on the long axis of the room. Second, ideal listening position should be about 38% away from the front or back wall. So if you're a hi-fi or like theater listening environment, being 38% away from the front wall might be too close to the movie projector, so you'd want to be 38% from the back wall. But for mixing, you want to be 38% from the front wall so that you get the best bass control, and that you don't have tons of reflection coming off the front wall, and tons of reflection. Sorry, you don't want tons of reflection coming off the back wall. The back wall is where a lot of the bass reflects back, and a lot of the high frequencies, and so the back wall is important to treat properly. And yeah, so other takeaways: you want the tweeters at ear height, you want most of the wall treatment at ear height ideally. Ceiling and floor treatments should be halfway between your monitors and your seated position, and outside of that there's a ton of other technical details. Oh, one great thing that I learned today from Ethan, who is, I think, the founding partner of Real Traps, who's a really, really awesome guy, and I've just had an incredibly positive experience working with them so far, and him in particular. He told me something really interesting today, which turned out to be repeated today in the studio recording studio design book, which is most closed box speaker designs, they only emanate backwards from the cabinet at 300 hertz, about 300 hertz or below. And so actually what you want is bass trapping behind that, and you don't need a lot of high frequency treatment on the wall right behind the speakers, which is kind of interesting. And I think the Orlex people, bless their hearts, I mean, I'm sure they have good intentions, and their products do help for sure situations, but I just don't know that the way that they market their products is totally honest. I mean, I guess it's like technically honest. It does technically absorb some bass frequency, these bass traps. Like this thing I have, which is like 3 inches deep or something, or 10 centimeters. But when we're talking about real bass control for like a professional studio, I mean, maybe they just assume that the average consumer, some foam in the room is better than nothing, which it is. But these types of foam panels are much better for high and mid absorption, and they'll do an excellent job of that. But when you're talking about real bass control, like below 100 hertz in particular, you need mass. You need something that is heavy. You need something that is dense. And so fiberglass and mineral fiber tends to be the best route. So anyway, hopefully that wasn't more than you wanted to know about that, but that's kind of like a short summary of some of the key takeaways from today. Then I jumped on the drums, and yeah, I just had a really good drum session, which was so awesome, because it's been a struggle the last couple of weeks, especially being sick, and definitely tracking some really complicated and difficult parts as well, that are at sort of critical points of the recording and the album as a whole, because I think this song's going to be the last one, and this is going to be where the album ends, probably. And yeah, just refined to the part, used the metronome as I typically do. Kind of loosened my process as far as counting goes, and that actually gave me some really good results. Just focus more on the feel and the emotion and listening, and just staying connected to the track, and then integrating counting a little bit as it's comfortable. And I'll just play around with that as time goes on. But yeah, I think if I got some good takes. I think if none of them are amazing, then I'll just sit down tomorrow or the next day and knock out a few more, and hopefully be happy with what I have at that point. And then almost all the tracking for this tune should be done, assuming I'm not going to retrack the guitar solo or retrack any of the drum parts I've done. I'll go back and listen through and comp them all together and make sure there's nothing crazy missing. But yeah, I'm in a really good place with this song. It feels awesome, and I'm excited to head into late March, early April, just 100% focus on this last tune, which is really great. So going to take a break, have some food, and update you guys at the end of the session. Okay, pretty light second half of the session. Just edited yesterday's video and then listened back to the guitar takes I did last night, and they're okay. They could definitely be a lot better. And the interesting thing is I kept track of the takes that I did sort of more on feel, and the takes that I counted things out a little clearer. And once again, the counting takes did feel better listening back. While I was playing them, the non-counting takes feel better while I'm actually performing it. But it's funny how, I don't know if that emotion is really translating the way people say it's supposed to. I mean, maybe I'm just not the best judge of that, I don't know. But as far as like my sound and how I want the listener to feel, how I want it to feel to me, I feel like the counted takes are a little bit better. So I'm going to come back in tomorrow and hit that hard, and I'll update you guys with the finished product. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Can't wait.